Why do you support Trump?
Well, Parker, I think we have a few things in common, or what we like. For instance, the Democrats, they say tax the rich. I say tax the ultra rich. There's $33 trillion in offshore bank accounts, tax havens. I mean, could you imagine what that could do to public services if we can get a hold of that money, as we should? Have you heard of that?
No, I'm confused why you brought this up, right? I mean, this has nothing to do with either of the policies.
Common ground. We'll get the policies. And also, I don't like the Democrats and the climate change, but we can get there in a minute. I was listening to you earlier with a caller about the SNAP reserve, and I think he said, yeah, there's $3 billion of that, and it's unconstitutional, and it's also against the Anti-Deficiency Act for the Trump administration to unfortunately, to fund the SNAP. To say, hey, these SNAP reserves can be.
It's not.
Given.
A literal judge indicated that they could.
Well, actually, I think the Supreme Court ruled against it tonight, but we can go into the minutia if you want.
I'd have to see if the Supreme Court ruled against it. I wasn't quite. I can pull that up though. SCOTUS pause it. They paused it. They block a court order to fully fund, even though a judge had given the ruling. Okay, I do see this.
All right, so and the reason is, it's being litigated, and I'm sure the litigation will come out soon for all of us to look at. But I mean, there's $3 billion in that SNAP reserve, and it'll be wonderful if we can get out to the people, But those reserves supplement already appropriated funds; they don't replace them.
Okay,
and that's the USDA.
It's temporary hold because they're just looking at it. It's pending appeals. Okay, so
that's fine.
Okay, so then what's your point with this? Sorry?
Oh, well, I mean, you were talking at length with the other caller who has some good points about it being unconstitutional and against the Anti-Deficiency Act. I don't think you mentioned the Anti-Deficiency Act, but there's a separation of powers there, and you don't want the judiciary to overreach into legislators.
Okay, so to clarify, you're saying that there's some sort of constitutional issue with this?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so then why didn't he have this level of, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this because there's a constitutional issue with this with like the National Guard?
I do know he sent out a tweet saying he's got to have his lawyers look into it. That's how he operates.
The National Guard? No, they sent in specifically the National Guard into Democratic areas without the consent of the governors. Well, I'm just talking about things specifically. I'm talking about things that they've done to violate it, or we can talk about the tariffs, or we can talk about specifically the fact that Donald Trump has engaged in violations of due process rights.
Yeah, we can get to that in a minute. But right now we're talking about SNAP reserve. So the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7, unambiguously says no money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law.
Yeah,
and there's two cases.
Because it's an emergency situation, right? And even the Trump administration prior said that they could do so in government shutdowns.
It's like emergency such as a natural disaster. So that's
it also said government shutdown.
That's open for interpretation.
They said it themselves. The Trump administration said it themselves. This administration.
It's open to interpretation. Maybe they changed their minds.
Foolish consistency. Why couldn't they have an interpretation otherwise?
Hey man, a foolish consistency is a hobgoblin of simple minds. I don't know why they did what they did.
Okay, then there's the Anti-Deficiency Act. This isn't a winning argument. This is not a winning argument for yourself.
I wasn't trying to tally up one for myself. I really wasn't. I'm just having a good conversation with you. So then there's the
So could we have a conversation about why you support Trump?
Yeah, I think he's doing a great job. He puts people in positions of power that are hardworking, intelligent, wise.
Such as?
And the people, I trust the guy. I mean, you want me to sit here and name names, pull them out of a hat? I'm not going to do that.
No, just who are the hardworking, intelligent, and wise individuals that he's put in his administration?
I've seen them. I read the news. I watch the news. I can't remember all the names. I can't remember all the names.
Can you name any of them?
I don't want to. You're just going to have to trust me on this one. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with you. I'm not going to entertain that with you.
I genuinely, could you name like two people, for example?
Honestly, it doesn't matter.
No, I just want to know two people in Trump's administration that you consider hardworking, intelligent, and wise.
Let's see. I like Stephen Miller. I think he's great. I know you guys hate
That was
him.
like the worst person you
Yeah,
could have picked.
yeah, I think he's great though. But there's a
He's
lot of other
horrible.
ones too. There's a
Who
lot of
else?
other
Who
ones too,
else?
man. Honestly, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. You don't like any of them.
You can't. No, just
That's
mention.
all.
Just I just want to hear another one. We can talk about them.
No, no, we don't. We need to keep
Just
on.
just
We need to
mention one
focus
more.
on the
Mention one more.
conversation.
Come on, this is being You're being ridiculous here. Just mention one more, and we can
I'm
move on
not
with the
being ridiculous. You're
conversation.
being ridiculous.
I'm
You're
not.
getting away from the whole snap argument.
Name one more.
Do you want to talk about snap? I'd love to talk about climate change too.
We can talk
So,
about
because
those
that's one of the
things.
reasons I
If
can't vote. I
hey,
do. I
genuinely,
can't
if you do
vote
not
Democrat
respond to
because
me,
of
I'm
this.
going to kick you and go to the next person. I can't make this more clear. Respond to me or leave. Genuinely, I'm done with this. I'm not going to
Tulsi
sit here
Gabbard.
and go back and forth.
Tulsi
Thank you. Holy
Gabbard.
Jesus Christ, dude. I'm not doing that again. Make me do that again and I'll kick you. That was ridiculous. I'm not going to beg you to answer questions on the live. That was insane. You're being ridiculous. Jesus Christ, dude. Holy Okay, tell me why you like them. Why do you like Tulsi Gabbard? Why do you like Stephen Miller?
They're hardworking, man, and they have good views. They align with Trump's, but they're good at the specialties. You know, Tulsi has the intelligence background. I think Stephen Miller's got a good pulse on what people do on the ground throughout the party, and also throughout the Democrat Party. Uh, that's honestly it. But I do like Trump has great decision making. He does. I know you say, oh, he's got so many bankruptcies, but he's also won a lot, and he's done some great things. He's built things. He's got a good high level view. He can, the people, him and the guys he work with, they can be analytical. They can make intelligent comparisons. I can't say that about a lot of Democrats, unfortunately. I wish I could. They're very chaotic. Honestly, I would like to vote Democrat, but I see a lot of pseudoscience on the left, especially with climate change.
There's no way you said pseudoscience when you literally, the guy that you voted for president said that we should look into disinfectant by injection to fight COVID-19. He said windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. He said that we shouldn't use Tylenol during pregnancy because it causes autism, when there was a Swedish study with over 2.5 million people that overlooked specifically the outcomes of Tylenol usage during pregnancy and showed that after taking into account siblings and genetics, that there's absolutely no association between Tylenol usage during pregnancy and autism. He said there are no negative impacts specifically to not taking Tylenol, like as if untreated maternal fever isn't going to lead to greater levels of miscarriages, greater levels of negative impacts in terms of the health of the pregnancy and of the pregnant individual, right? So the idea that we're the ones that are pseudoscience, when you support a candidate that said the climate's going to start cooling, science just doesn't know it yet, which is literally, the statement in of itself is pseudoscience, because he said science doesn't know it yet, right? When there's a literal 97% consensus amongst climate scientists that climate change is caused by humans, and yet he sits there and calls it a hoax.
Okay, so he's not an expert at climatology. Can we agree on that? All right, and but he did put Will Happer. You should look Will Happer up. He's going to be a legend. He is a legend. You just don't know it yet. But in 30 years, you're going to read about Will Happer and how he was right about all this. So there's only, I mean, I could get into the minutia if you want me to, but I want to give you some high level things first. I mean, I went to school. I'm an engineer. I saw a lot of different majors, met a lot of people with a lot of different majors. 90% of these climatologists espouse pseudoscience. They have insufficient variable and narrow scope studies with inaccurate data, and they extrapolate it out to be the word, like the Bible. They fall in love with their models, and the models are proven wrong over and over again. The factor is human greed, Parker. That's why you said what, 97% consensus is human greed. These are bottom rung scientists, man. They just want the money. The CO2 band, which infrared energy, is 15 microns, and there's only so much infrared energy. So the cooling, you're going to stop. You get what, 400 parts per million. It doesn't matter now because there's only so much infrared that can be absorbed in that CO2 band at 15 microns. There's some side bands too. We don't have to get into all this fancy stuff, man. Yeah, you just gonna have to trust me, dude. It's called science. Now, okay, let's say you and I might not agree on climate change. Well, let's talk about the solutions. You want renewable energy?
Can I address this real quick? No.
Yeah, sure.
So what is specifically wrong with the IPCC models? How are they inaccurate?
Well, I read a lot of, studies, and they're bullshit, frankly.
How so?
Insufficient variables.
Such as?
I can't go back and pick and tell you which variable. That's just silly, man.
Well, then you're saying they're insufficient variables, but you don't even know what variables you're referencing. What study are you referencing? What model are you referencing? You said that there are bad models, insufficient variables. You don't know the variables, don't know the models. You don't even.
I read the reports. I read many reports, Parker.
What is the
IPC? I read many reports. I'm not an encyclopedia.
You don't.
That's
need to
why
be an
your questions are so silly.
Do you know anything?
Yeah, I read the reports. I analyzed them, and I came up with that.
Okay, what's wrong about them? Name one thing that's wrong about them.
I told you, insufficient variables, narrow scope.
What variables? Name a single variable. Name a single variable that you're referencing that was insufficient.
I read them. I can't remember a single one. Just bring it up, like that. You can try to mock me. It's like, hey, it's a W because I mocked you.
Yes, dude. You literally just said that specifically that Democrats are engaging in pseudoscience, and that the climatologists, you said.
Just look up William Happer.
Climate scientists specifically, you said the consensus amongst climate scientists specifically is inaccurate and it's false, right? And you said it's based upon models that are wrong, but you can't even mention any of the models or how they're wrong.
Maybe Bill Gates read what I read because he made a pivot recently. He actually
made a pivot. Why does every single climate science denier say the same damn thing? You're the third climate science denier on the stream to say that same dumb talking point that Bill Gates changed his position. It's misinterpreting what he was talking about. He wasn't saying he doesn't believe in climate change. You're being ridiculous.
No,
even if he did, that doesn't change anything. He's a billionaire. He's not even a climate scientist.
He knows a lot of climate scientists, and he's read a lot of reports. Probably just like me. We came to the same conclusion.
Bill Gates, because he said something, must be accurate. So then you must believe all of the different times where he said that climate change was an issue. Oh, wait, you don't believe that? So you only think that he's a legitimate source specifically when he's saying what you want him to say? You dishonest.
He just better on. He just knows better now, and since the Democrats.
No, you're just you're dishonest. You're incredibly dishonest. You only will accept what he says specifically when he says exactly what you want him to say. That's why you do not accept the 97% of climate scientists, and you write them off as if they are corrupt lunatics that specifically have no basis in what they're saying, even though they have PhDs, even though they have decades of research, even though they have say IPCC that indicate you're wrong, buddy. Yet you're going to sit here and say, science doesn't know it yet. Science doesn't know it yet. You guys are engaging in pseudoscience. Yet you're the one literally, by definition, engaging in pseudoscience, you dumb.
No, I'm an engineer.
I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling. You, by definition, are engaging in pseudoscience while sitting there and saying that we are. What are you talking about, dude?
Actually, no. Look up Will Happer, and you'll have just write that name down.
Yes, I already know. Yes, I already know. That's not a source. Yeah, he's an engineer, not a climate. He's not even a climate scientist. He's an engineer. Okay?
Yeah, engineers are great. Well, oftentimes they know more than climate scientists.
Stop. No, you can't give me a single climate scientist that you can reference.
Let's talk about. I named him as Happer. Let's talk about solutions.
That's not a climate scientist.
Let's move. Okay, we're not going to agree on this. You're wrong, but we're not going to agree on it. Let's talk about solutions.
How am I wrong if you can't even give me an argument?
Well, I did argue. I told you what's wrong with the reports. I told you about the CO2 band saturation. And
none of this has to do with. None of this has to do specifically.
What if I told you?
This is the first time you told me this. First time you said this.
I agree that man had a hand in global warming up to a certain point. I agree that some of it is man-made.
It's mostly caused by humans.
Right, up to a certain point. But now there's only so much infrared that can be reflected back, from onto Earth. There's only so much infrared. The CO2 band saturation, 15 microns. Look it up. Don't want to go into details. But that's I never denied that men didn't have a hand in it. But times have changed. Science is better now than 20, 30 years ago.
You're saying there's a certain level of saturation. Can you give me a single study that indicates that there's a certain level of saturation that we're close to that specifically is going to lead to a plateau of the level of warming? Give me a single study that indicates that. Give me a single climate scientist other than an engineer that you got that's bad insane that has no basis in evidence for what he's saying.
Actually, the guy's a genius. He's a legend. You're just going to have to trust me, Parker. You have to read his stuff, and then you'll understand. You got to read, and there's a lot of reports there. That's why I can't just bring out one little thing here and there.
Give me a climate scientist. 20, give me 30, someone who specializes within that particular field.
No, let's move on. I don't have another one because they're all kooks. Now let's move on.
You can't give me anything, and now you want to move on because you got proven wrong because you're a pseudoscience, anti-science lunatic.
That's hilarious. Nice try. All right, so wind. What do you like about wind? The solutions. Let's go to solutions.
What type of pivots, bro? You don't want to.
They're not pivots, dude.
It is. It is. It is literally.
They're not pivots. We're trying to come. I'm a solutions-oriented person.
We can't even talk about solutions if you don't even believe
you don't
it's
even
a problem.
like solutions.
Parker, we can't even. We cannot engage in a conversation about solutions if you don't even believe the problem exists in the first place.
I told you climate change was man-made.
You don't specifically. You don't even believe in it. So I don't even. Not even engage in a conversation with you on that.
I did.
Because all you're going to do is spew anti-science bullshit.